Welcome to the Four Visions Market Podcast, a space built on the principles of integrity and reciprocity. Together, we will engage in thought-provoking conversations about plant medicines, why these plants are coming out of the rainforests, jungles, and mountains after thousands of years, and what it means to be in right relationship with the ancestral wisdom cultures and guardians of these traditions. I'm your host, Mariah Ganessa, founder and director of Four Visions Market. This podcast is the natural evolution in our commitment to providing you, our tribe, with incredible resources to support you on your healing journey through plant medicines. Welcome home.
Welcome back, Four Visions family. We are bringing another incredible episode of the Four Visions podcast today. I am very excited and honored to be joined by Chor Boogie today. Chor is the founder of Soul Centro and a visionary artist, and he has been ordained as a Nganga, a healer and seer, by his Missoko Bwiti elders after completing a decade of study and service with the tradition, the rites of passage, and multiple advanced initiations. His Bwiti name, Ngnyangou, means the medicine of the sun. Chor brings his profound dedication through the Iboga medicine and the Bwiti tradition. He is committed to never watering down or whitewashing the tradition for convenience or Western preference. Chor supports diversity, inclusion, cultural sensitivity, and decolonized healing spaces. Chor, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Yes. My Wiki Kobo is Ngnyangou. Ngnyangou Mabeka Mamiku,
Gnyangou.
which is duties of the sun. Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm very excited to have this conversation today. And we were talking before the show. I recently interviewed your partner, Elizabeth. And so these episodes are coming out as a duo. And so we have two beautiful back-to-back episodes featuring the sacred medicine of the Iboga and highlighting the tradition and culture of the Bwiti people. And I'm very excited to jump into learning a little bit more about your story. You have a very interesting story and calling to your purpose and mission. And I would love to get into that. But before we do, perhaps we can start with an introduction to Iboga and really honor this sacred plant by giving it some space at the beginning of our conversation to let you introduce us a little bit to the spirit of this plant and to the culture and tradition that it comes from.
Iboga, Mamboga, Deboga, Debogi. Deboga is profound medicine. It's a profound medicine from the terrain, the bush, the jungle of Gabon. It was founded by the Bamanga, which are the pygmies, and they studied this medicine for eons before it was introduced to the tradition, to the tribes. And then the tribes studied it for eons after that, interjecting themselves or the inception of the tribes to the Bamanga and growing together and learning the ways of this medicine. But Bwiti existed before it was introduced to the medicine, but the medicine fine-tuned the Bwiti to what it is today. There's many profound elements and profound truths and profound stories when it comes to the evolution of Bwiti. But the foundation of it is the medicine. So one of the foundations is the medicine and Iboga. And the medicine is a very, like I said earlier, it's a very profound medicine that has healing abilities that can basically heal your mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, and spirit. And this medicine is, it's not an easy medicine. And it's not a hard medicine at the same time. So technically, this medicine is a balanced medicine. Some people, when they come in for a certain respect of healing, I'll say 99.9% of the people leave here, especially here at Soul Centro, satisfied to a point where they know that their mind has definitely been changed, and they're definitely going to express more changes into their life as they grow further with their integration. So, like I said earlier, this medicine, it isn't an easy medicine, but it isn't a hard medicine at the same time. So we basically have to, or need to, or we should, when it comes to working with this medicine or with any medicines, take that integrative process very seriously, especially when it comes to making changes in our lives from that point on forward. Because technically, if you want to compare it to anything, Iboga, it's like taking the blue pill and the red pill at the same time, and you're waking up from the matrix. That's what it is. And it's going to be up to you to make those significant changes in your mind even afterwards. There's still going to be work that needs to happen when it comes to this medicine. So, or any medicine, you still have to do the work. It's not a magic pill. None of this stuff is a magic pill. There's magic involved in it if you know how to use it. But and that's where the tradition of the tribes and everything comes in that manner. And that's when one has that calling. One has that calling to walk that path. Usually after they do the medicine the first time, and if they have that calling along that path, they'll learn the aspects of how magical this medicine is, and much more than that, especially when it comes to the tradition, because there's way more magical elements within the tradition itself. So, the tradition is based off animism, and it's from the jungle, it's from the bush, and it's a medicine that will definitely wake you up when it comes to what is real and what is not real. And see, we live in the comforts and luxuries of Westworld, and plagued by its privilege and its beauty, even though there's much more to life than just that. And going down the halls or the pathways of these medicines, especially at Iboga, it's going to wake you up to the reality and the truth of what life really is. And it may incorporate some of those attributes from Westworld, but in reality, it's gonna show you the truth about certain things that we do live with, that can be blind spots, or they can be distractions. And we walking down the paths of this tradition, technically Bwiti Jedis, because we have to be discerning and understand that we know how to read between the lines and decipher what is real and what is not. And so that is the beauty of this medicine. This medicine, it's, if you know how to work with it, if you work with it and develop a relationship with it, you will develop certain types of supernatural powers with it as well. And that takes years of study. at least 10 years of 2 years or more of fluid, steady work with the medicine. We're talking about a heavy relationship with it. You're not going to get this in 2 months. You're not going to get this in 2 years. And I know that there's people out there claiming this, and that, and that they have the spirit of medicine in them, but it's technically it's just basically their mind telling them that. And when it comes to medicine, you learn how to decipher your mind from the medicine and know how to listen to both. And so beautiful this medicine. It's not complicated, but it's really not. It's just practice and repetition and doing lots of medicine. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And a lot of studying, and a lot of being in Africa and listening to your teachers. Yeah, being a student of life. So technically, the Bwiti is studying life. It's the university of life when it comes to working with this medicine. It's the university of life. And we Bwitis are forever students, for the rest of our lives until we transition to the next life.
Very beautiful. And thank you for sharing all of that. And it's an interesting thing to be receiving that introduction to Iboga, because the way that you just spoke about it is a lot different than what someone might find on the internet if they were to research what is Iboga. Right? So I really appreciate all of that you just shared. Before we get going into a little bit deeper of your journey to the Iboga, I would love to ask if you could share a little bit more about the tradition and the ceremony surrounding the Iboga. Maybe if you can address any misconceptions or misunderstandings. A lot of people think, like, for example, Ibogaine and Iboga are the same thing. So being able to really clarify a little bit, distinguish, as well as perhaps share whatever you're able to share regarding the traditional ceremony working with this sacred plant, what the design or the architecture of a traditional Iboga communion looks like.
I come from the Missoko Bwiti tradition, and they are considered the protectors. They hold the protection, serious medicine people in the Bwiti. They're part of the Nganga tradition. There's about I want to say seven main traditions, but there's many more to my understanding. But I come from the Bwiti. It's the Missoko branches. The Missoko is the trunk of the tree. The roots of it is the Disumba. The Disumba is the mother of all Bwiti. So they're the roots that goes into the Missoko, which is the mother of all. The trunk of the tree, and it goes into its branches. And Bwiti is one of the branches. So I'm a part of Missoko Bwiti, and when it comes to the ceremonial context, the ceremonies are very profound, just like the medicine. It's just another form of medicine. And when it comes into the Missoko also, all other branches of the Bwiti learn the many different spiritual medicines that come from the jungle. Some of them, some branches do it differently, but Missoko, they're pretty much like the soldiers of the Bwiti, and from my understanding, from what I've seen, and they're pretty strong, and we bring that element here to Costa Rica, to Soul Centro, to our ceremonies, because if one isn't holding these protections, and it's not just about receiving something from Bwiti elders, because they'll give you stuff without even teaching you how to use it. And then the individuals that affect it, they know what I got this powerful element that, just because me having this, just because I have this means that I know what I'm doing now. No, that's not it. It's going to take time to learn how to work with those tools. And so when one is given these tools, you have to know how to use them in a ceremony in order to protect the space, in order to protect the people that you're serving. And that's one of the major factors and major elements when it comes to helping people help heal themselves. When it comes to the container has to be very well protected. The ceremonies, a true ceremony is going to happen in the jungle. It's going to happen in the bush, and it's gonna be in the temple. And there's initiations that are happening. There's many different levels that a Nganga can achieve. See, when one becomes one is a bonzi. One is a bonzi before they get initiated. A bonzi is just the individual that's coming in into the temple to learn about the Bwiti. And then once they get initiated, they become a Nganga. And you see, then when one becomes a Nganga, it doesn't give an individual a license to serve medicine, even at that point. Because it still takes blood, sweat, years, and tears and dedication to go down the path to learn how to work with this medicine, to learn how to work the magic, to learn how to work with the tradition. And so when one becomes a Nganga, there's many different levels of being a Nganga to achieve certain medicine. And so when one goes down this path, this blood, sweat, years, and tears path to learn how to serve the medicine and to learn how to work with all the other medicines, then they get permission from their Bwiti elder to go out and become a healer. I think that's the misconception of a lot of people that come and do Iboga, call them Iboga evangelicals, and they want to come in and they want to rush their process when it comes to trying to heal people, thinking that they're a healer. They're just impatient, and I see it all the time. I see it all the time. And instead of just taking the time out and waiting years to work with this medicine, to learn how to work with this medicine properly, when one does that, then they'll get the proper credentials from their teacher. But like I said, there's people out there that just want to rush things, and that definitely needs to be regulated when it comes to the West world way of thinking. And I understand everybody's intentions are well, and they want to help heal people, and they want to help people help heal themselves, but that's not how this works. Iboga is not ayahuasca. We are not going down the same paths as ayahuasca when it comes to popularizing it, because this is a serious medicine. This medicine, you have to take this medicine very seriously when it comes to protection, when it comes to serving it, when it comes to using it wisely. And there's a reason why that's happening. There's a reason why it needs to happen right now. And it's because, of privileged minds, colonized minds that want to just take something and make it their own, and still even at the same time claim that they have respect for the tradition. But there definitely needs to be a regulation when it comes to working with this medicine, and that is going to happen. That is happening. There's already a process that's happening with with Bwiti Council called Magalo Nzambe. That's happening. So, and people are going to have to meet certain criteria, going to have to meet certain rules and regulations when it comes to serving this medicine. And that's how protected the tradition, that's how protected the Bwiti are when it comes to working with this medicine, because you can really get in somebody's mind. You can really hurt somebody. If you know what you're doing and you think you know what you're doing, which is the wrong attitude to have when it comes to working with this medicine. So, the differentiation between this and Iboga is major. There's no spirit involved with Iboga versus Iboga. Comes from the spiritual world, spiritual elements. The only differentiation between the two is the fact that Westworld, exactly what Westworld is doing is, they need to turn it into the medical model so Westworld can understand it. Because nobody wants to be jumping up and down, dancing, and dressing up in the jungle to receive certain healing, especially people from the West, and so it's the fast way. It's the fast way to healing. There is a reason and a purpose Iboga came about, and there's a reason why it exists. And honestly, I think Iboga and Iboga need to work hand in hand when it comes to helping people help heal themselves and healers. Like, Iboga needs to include the spiritual element to it. If they don't, their relapse rates are already high, and they're just gonna keep getting higher. And people are just going to need to keep going back and recycling through Iboga. When if you want super ultimate healing, you can have people detoxing or pre-toxing with Iboga and leading them to the spirit, which is Iboga. That's their choice. That's their calling. There are healing capabilities, all healing aspects with Iboga. I'm not going to discredit it, but there can be much more to it when it comes to healing aspect of it. And so there is a major difference. I think Iboga needs to be regulated too, through the council, and especially if they're receiving their medicine through Iboga. They need to meet the certain criteria, certain rules, certain regulations. Yeah. Because if we don't do this, it's just going to get out of hand. You're going to have more evangelicals, people that just want to serve Iboga or Iboga, and people have died because of it, and people have gotten hurt because of it. So we definitely need to have more control over it when it comes to the service behind it, and the healing behind it. It's just like a medical profession. It's just like being a doctor. Same thing. Being a medical professional, being a doctor, just a different level. Technically, we are the first doctors, first scientists, and it's the same thing. You'd have to treat it along the same realm, same elements. Doctors have to go to school for a long time to become doctors. Same thing. It's the same thing, when it comes to helping people help heal themselves. Yeah, we're just on a different level than Westworld's modality of what a doctor is.
Taking a short break from today's episode to share about an incredible product line that we absolutely love. It's called Clareia, which means clarity and illumination. Clareia was created from divine inspiration and guidance that our coherence of body, mind, and soul are born from inner clarity. These creations are alchemized with the intention to bring forth health and well-being to the totality of your temple, to nourish a vital, thriving life. Holistically handcrafted with love and care for your well-being of mind, body, and soul. An offering that is life-giving, relevant, and aligned for all life and the future generations to come. Chlorea is formulated from over 33 years of the founders' combined in-depth, dedicated study, research, application, and experience with holistic health, Ayurveda, herbalism, permaculture, detoxification methodology, and healing. Everything is 100% organic or wild-crafted, biodynamic, homegrown, vegan, botanical, pure, all ingredients of the purest, highest grade, sourced ethically and sustainably. Chlorea is a full-circle sustainable project that aims to create as big as an impact for our Mother Earth and all life as possible. We are 100% aligned on every level with this beautiful company's mission, and for that reason, we felt called to share this incredible product line with you, our Four Visions family. 10% of all proceeds go directly to nonprofit organizations aimed at environmental regeneration and restorative efforts, specifically for water cleanup, protection and preservation of the waters, restoration of bee populations, protection of indigenous sacred lands, rights, and natural resources, reforestation, and endangered species and animal rights. Check out the link in the show notes and make sure to use the code FVFamily to snag some savings on your order. And now back to today's episode.
Everything that you just shared, and I think that it's all really relevant and important. A lot of what you were just kind of sharing, and touching on, Elizabeth and I got really into. And so I want to make sure that we kind of go in a different direction for our conversation today. But one thing regarding, this process of the council and regulation, to me, is very interesting because while Iboga is not one of the medicines that I work with, I do have over a decade of study with the yahe, which is my primary plant teacher, which is the Colombian form of ayahuasca. And one of the things that you shared was something that I don't maybe fully agree with, in the sense that just Iboga needs regulation, because I feel like there are a lot more similarities between other psychedelic and ancestral plant medicines to Iboga than perhaps one might think, because they're all plant medicines and then they all come from ancestral lineages and traditions. And because so much of what you're sharing about this process of regulation is something that, me working with the Inga and Siona tribes of Colombia, I have had a very intimate look into a process that's very similar to what you're describing when it comes to regulation, codes of ethics, processes for evaluation. So I believe that something like this needs to develop for all plant medicines. And of course, it needs to be respective to the tradition and the culture that are the original carriers of that medicine. It's not like we can create one council for all ancestral plants and visionary plants, right? But I am very curious to learn more about this process that you have been part of within the Bwiti organization and the people in regards to the evolution of this medicine traveling out of the bush, right? And I'm sure that this is really ramped up more and more in the last 20 years, maybe more, but primarily the last 20, 25 years is when we've really seen this globalization of ancestral plant medicines and cultural sharing, which is perhaps one of the kindest words we could use for the exchange and sharing of tradition and culture when done in the right way. And so I would love to go into that here. And, if you feel maybe we first address kind of a little bit more about your own personal journey and story, what got you to Africa for the first time, and this process of, claiming and being welcomed into a tradition, because that's something that's very unique for someone from the outside world, regardless of whether or not there is spiritual bloodline or connection there, to be so welcomed in and given a pathway to become part of and be also contributing to the stewardship of a culture and a tradition. And so I just really want to open the space here for you to share a little bit about that journey, that process, as well as what are some of the main things that you are learning, observing, that we can perhaps apply to this, greater plant medicine culture and community in the Western world when it comes to, the neo-shaman modality or the fashion sense of, becoming the new shaman of the neighborhood, whatever, whatever words we want to give to it. But it's here, right? So everything that you shared about Iboga is very much relevant for all plant medicines at this time, right? So I feel like this conversation, while it's obviously centered on your experience and your relationship with Iboga and the Bwiti, is very much applicable to so many different plant medicines and the challenges we're facing kind of as a collective community.
Yeah, no, I agree. It'd be amazing if all plant medicines fell under that category of wanting to, be more ethical and to protect the traditions, and the best way to do it is to get involved with the Nicoya protocol. So this is what Iboga has done it became established with the Nicoya protocol, and that protects all indigenous rights, all indigenous medicines. And so I'm pretty sure that it protects the, other plant medicines and other indigenous traditions as well. It's just the fact if people are going to listen to it, and I think that when it comes to I don't care what plant medicine is, the thing is as long as it's being enforced, and that's what's going to happen, is that things are going to start being enforced, and that's what needs to happen. Because if it doesn't happen, then, like I said, we're just gonna have more chaos, and more cowboys, cowgirls that want to just like do whatever they want to do because they think that that it all comes from nature, it's all free. And I'm like, no, we are the stewards of the nature, so we have to help protect it, you know, and um and that's why there's reasons why these things are happening. There's reasons why these things have been put in place. Is because people don't want to listen and they don't want to follow the rules, and I'll tell you this, it's naturally happened through nature, that nature's making this happen, you know, because it knows that we are wild ass consumers and we'll just friggin' eat everything up until it's all gone. If we're not gonna respect it and develop a relationship with it and treat it right, I don't care what plant medicine it is, as long as they listen, you know. And so I agree with you, 110%, when it comes to that aspect of it. And how I was introduced to this tradition was through my ancestors. I got African blood in me, you know, um, and a lot of it. And you know, when I first did this medicine, I was 6 months after I first did this medicine, I was in Africa. Got initiated, did a rite of passage and initiation, and I was in the Bwiti. Once a Bwiti, always was a Bwiti. That's what they say. And so that's in my bloodline. I'm a Nimana Kongo, which is a high level of a healer, high level healer. My Papa Binana is my teacher, a master. he told me, or when he made me a Nima, he said, the first words that came out of his mouth were, "You were always a Nima. You were always a Nima." And that spoke in volumes to me, because it just told me how deep my ancestral bloodline is. You know, my ancestors were the Monocombos. And it's not an easy job. It's not an easy task, because you got haters and all types of stuff out there that don't want to see you, especially in a high level, high spiritual position. You know, projections and that hate, and just stuff just comes out, whether they like you or not. I'm not going to say that I'm a perfect person. I still have my things that I need to work on when it comes to who I am, but it's definitely not an easy job. It's not an easy task. It's not an easy profession to be at this level of healing abilities. But somebody's got to do it, and especially here in the West. And this is another main reason why my spiritual father put me in this position, and gave me all this protection, because he knows that I got a big job to do. Big job to do when it comes to helping people help heal themselves, or healing people, learning the tradition, bringing the tradition to the West. Yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot, and at the same time, I love it. At the same time, it doesn't intimidate me or scare me one bit. Nor do the haters. They don't understand what world I come from. The world I came from before my ancestors pulled me out of it and put me in my position, because they were protecting me in this world that was full of jails, institutions, and death. And I grew up in that, lived in it, and embraced it. It became my life for many, many years, until my ancestors were like, "Okay, it's time for him to come out of there. You gotta get him out of there, or he's gonna die." I should have been dead maybe 10 times over. But my ancestors had another path for me, and this is it. And putting me in this position of Missoko Bwiti, just solidifies it. You know, it's literally like when becoming a spiritual archaeologist. Becoming a spiritual archaeologist from within, discovering all the things that you need to discover within, that one needs to discover within, and healing all those things, and doing it for the rest of your life. Because once we start learning things from love and heal ourselves within, we internally, we can heal the external. This is the problem. And this is what's going on within the world. All these wars and all these people killing kids and all types of stuff, is the fact that everybody is they don't love themselves. They think they do. They may say they do. They may be taking a little bit of action towards it, but no, they really don't. They're not taking on full steps to it. They don't even really know what that word really means. So, if we want true peace and true healing and true understanding to the world, we need to learn how to love ourselves and heal ourselves more than. Once we heal the internal, the external will follow. And it's just common sense, common science, common math, common medicinal facts, everything. Once we heal the internal, the external follow. And if we want true peace on this planet, peace. Positive energy activates constant elevation, PEMCE. And if we really, really embrace the internal love, the external will follow. That's not what's happening in the world. But we also got to take in consideration that there's a balance. The balance, yeah, I don't care how positive a person can be, there's always going to be the balance. There's always going to be the other side. The fact is that, and these are all true teachings and true elements of the Bwiti tradition is people have to learn both sides of themselves. Once we learn both sides of ourselves, developing a relationship with both sides of ourselves, dark and light, positive and negative, whatever you want to call it, those voices inside our heads will start to dissipate and fall into the background. And then we can learn how to really listen to our souls and listen to ourselves, because if we just focus on one side, we just focus on one side of ourselves. I don't care whether it's the light or the dark. Most of the people like focusing on the light because it feels better, it feels good. Most people focus on the dark because it feels good too, as well. But about what side you're focusing on, if you focus on it way too much, the other side is going to catch feelings. The other side is going to catch feelings and it's going to act out. And it's gonna come out through your actions and through your expression and through your voice and through you. So once we learn how to develop that relationship and acknowledge, it's not saying that we have to go in and participate, especially with the dark side of ourselves. It's not saying that we have to go in and to participate. It's just saying that we need to acknowledge it. We need to acknowledge it and really embrace it and really even speak to it and let them know that it's there, to the point where we can learn how to control it, and we can learn how to respect it for what it's not going anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. That dark side ain't going anywhere. I don't care how much plant medicines we do or whatever you do, how much love you want to put out into the world.
It's part of us.
It's a part of us. But the misconception of the world is trying to hide from it. And it's not there, but it's right in front of our face. All you have to do is turn on the news. Oh my gosh. It's right in front of our faces. It's not going anywhere. So we have to learn how to respect it. Same thing with the love side. Like if the love side sees that you're focused on the dark side too much, the left side it's gonna catch feelings as well. And then there's going to be certain repercussions, certain actions that are going to come from the love side. The love side's going to probably get a little dark, just to make you realize and teach you a lesson that you're focusing on this side too much. That's why yin and yang, because the dark has a little bit of light, the light has a little bit of dark. They go hand in hand. All lessons within the tradition, all lessons within the Bwiti, and when it comes to the Bwiti, it all started from one source. All these traditions, all these planets, all these traditions started from one source. So from one source, and the evolution brought and it's expanded it out to the world. Just the traditions just evolved into what they are now. And when I first went to my first Bwiti ceremony, I was like, man, you can see all types of traditions are in one ceremony. And they said, Bwiti said, life came from the jungle. So it all came out of the jungle.
Reflecting and just taking all of that in, because I really feel the energy of the tradition that you are speaking from and connected to. And I could add to that or share my own thoughts and perspective, but it's really just so beautiful to hear it. Of course, these are not, new teachings, right? But like hearing them in the way that you're talking about them in the cosmology of the Bwiti and just in the even like the vernacular and just the way I really feel it. I feel that connection. It's very beautiful and very strong. And so I'm really just grateful for this moment of really getting to drop in and hear a little bit about the stories and the cosmology, the way that the Bwiti people see life and share about life. I feel like we're like around a fire together and you're just like, you're sharing and downloading us with these beautiful stories. So it's really beautiful.
That's a little drop in the bucket. There's way much more. There's way more than that. Like it goes beyond the physical world. Let me just let you know that. This little wiki, it goes beyond the physical world. It goes into the spirit world. It goes into magic. We're not talking about David Blaine, shit, none of that. Chris Angel, none of that. We're talking about real magic. But when it comes to the Bwiti, it's like a secret society. It is a very secret society. There's certain things that they'll let the world know, because the other things, if they let you know, it's gonna blow your top and you won't even understand it. It's just, you can't even comprehend it. That's why if the only way to understand it, understand it is if you walk the path of the tradition. That's the only way you're gonna get it. That's the only way they're gonna let you know. You're not gonna find any books, no documentaries, nothing.
I didn't understand what my teacher was saying for the first 6-7 years I was studying with him. All of it was going way over my head because I wasn't ready for it, And so there's that preparation where you become a vibrational match for that information that is existing beyond the physical world. And if you're not there, then it's just going to go right over your head.
Yep, exactly. And that's why they know it's their secrets. That's why another faction of the Bwiti is, it's the men with the men and the women with the women. See, the men have their own secrets, the women have their own secrets, and they have their own world. The men have their own world, and the women, no man's gonna ever know anything about any women's secrets. Not at all. It's same with the men, same with the women. Like they come together for ceremony. They come together to make babies. They come together to live together and live in harmony. But they're different at the same time. They're two different people, And even though they have the same similar qualities, but women hold magic differently. Men hold magic differently. So, yeah, that's another aspect of our tradition. And you can see that in the tradition as well.
Taking a quick break from today's conversation to share with you a short message, let's talk about plant medicine integration. Integration work is the action taking and the grounding into the fibers of our beings, the ancestral and cosmic wisdom that the plants give us. It is the manifestation of every vision. When we do it well, it becomes the true ceremony, the ceremony of life. The 4 Visions Plant Medicine Integration Program was created to support you in learning how to cultivate the unique process of translating the healing and wisdom received from the plants into your daily life. Our personalized, self-paced learning platform was developed to suit each person's unique availability and commitment levels, with as much hands-on guidance and support or autonomy as you are needing and wanting. Our in-depth curriculum is comprised of a robust digital content series, live monthly workshops, private spiritual consultations, and community connection. Our faculty is made up of renowned spiritual teachers, indigenous wisdom keepers, and integration specialists, each with unique backgrounds and decades working with the plants. We created the curriculum we wish we had had years ago when beginning our plant medicine journeys. Some of the topics we cover throughout the program are immediate integration basics, cultivating your spiritual practice, building a plant allies toolkit, how to make spiritual payments, how to deepen your connection with plants, working with hape, sananga, and cacao as allies, the foundations of microdosing, the art of forgiveness and reconciliation, spiritual hygiene, and plant diets. If you feel called to cultivate your integration practice or are interested in nourishing your spiritual studies and deepening your relationship with plants through a one-of-a-kind transformational container, we welcome you to visit fourvisionsintegration.com to learn more and sign up. And now back to today's show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because one of my questions that I really wanted to talk to you about was this element of preserving tradition and when tradition needs to evolve. And so I'm happy that you mentioned the gender roles, as well as just the balance and the complementary roles that the men and the women play within the Bwiti tradition, because this is one of the most principal examples that I have experienced within the Yahi cultures, within specifically the role of the women when it comes to different rites, initiations, serving the medicine, different ceremonies regarding menstruation, pregnancy, different rites that really, define a woman's role as giver of life. And the men have their own work and their own responsibilities. And typically within the Yahi cultures, the men will be serving the medicine, and the women are raising the children. And this is how it's been for thousands of years. And there's a lot of reasons why it's like this. It's not just, a lot of people would look at that. I'm sure, you've seen people come and they're like, oh, it's just the patriarchy, there's division, and right, they want to just say it's the same thing, but it's so much more than that, right? And I'd love to hear, of your observations on this topic, of course, when it comes to the Bwiti. I'm super curious. I had asked Elizabeth a little bit about it in our conversation, but for me, this has been such a big element of my studies that it's very interesting for me to hear about other traditions and these different roles and the ways in which it maintains order and a strong foundation for the tradition, the culture. And so I just want to preface this because where I'm going is a question regarding, does tradition evolve? And can traditions evolve? And where is the line between preserving tradition and the need to safeguard tradition? And then also recognizing that human consciousness is evolving. Human consciousness is not what it was thousands and thousands of years ago. And when is it okay to evolve, and how do we adapt and change tradition in a good way? It's a conversation that is, very much at the foundation of the work that I do and my own spiritual studies as a woman in a very masculine-led traditional culture. And so I'm really just curious to hear, your insights on this, and we can just see where this part of the conversation takes us.
Very similar, same thing. Men serve medicine, and men are, the protectors, and they hold the protections of the tradition. They do. They're the ones. They're right. They're the ones who give the protections. Even the women need the men to help get protections to the women. It is a very masculine dominated tradition, but the feminine is strongly present as well. They hold their position very well, and like I said, they have their own powers, they have their own magic, and their own things that they do. So, when it comes to Westerners coming in and seeing these things and being appalled by certain things because they don't understand, it is very disrespectful when you come to somebody else's country, somebody else's tradition, and try to tell them how to do things. and I've seen that happen too. Or they won't tell them directly. They'll come and tell it indirectly to somebody else or start some other things. And I've seen uh, this happen with mainly the woman aspect of the feminine aspect of it from other Western women coming in and telling some Bwiti women or Bwitias that this should be happening, or there may be a Bwitias that has been indoctrinated by Westworld and has learned some of the Westworld ways and brought that back and expressed some of this stuff to their teachers.
Yeah.
And I've seen things change and people go in different directions because of it. Now as far as evolution, yes, there's always going to be room for evolution. You can't. It's going to be only obvious because you're going to look at certain things within the ceremony that you're in today, right? You're in today. They weren't doing certain things within that ceremony 1,000 years ago. So technically, a lot has changed within those ceremonial contexts all the way up to that point. And there has been additions and probably new songs and certain things that have evolved into what it is today. But it's a slower process than just making it happen like that because they're staying true to the tradition. I guarantee that 99.9% of the elements that are involved into that ceremony are going to be certain things are going to be certain good majority of things that they were doing thousands and thousands of years ago. They're still keeping keeping it true to the tradition, keeping it true to the elements. Now, as far as the future comes, it's going to be based off. It's going to be based off the future leaders of the tradition. You know, uh, I am one aspect of it. Especially when it comes to the evolution of Wiki. See, when it comes to what we do here at Soul Centro. Okay, so even though we keep it true to the tradition, we're not gonna have the entire aspect of the tradition going on here because Westworld will not understand it. So technically, we would be an evolution of the tradition, but we're still staying true to certain facts and certain aspects. 99.9% of the aspects and facts of what happens in Africa we'll bring here, but we're not going to bring it all because we're missing Africans first off, and definitely need to be here. We kids that definitely need to be here to just to keep the songs going, you know, and you know, but I can honestly say that what we're doing here is an evolution of the tradition. As long as we still keep learning and still keeping it and still keep it true to what we're going to learn from past to present to future, and bringing that to the table of what we do here at Soul Centro, and still being evolving into the future. So, like I said, it's going to be up to the leaders of the future. These are going to be the young guys coming in, the young guys becoming Ngangas, the young guys becoming Nimas, and becoming healers. And but at the same time, they're raised by their elders. They're going to be raised by their elders, so the elders are going to be like, okay, uh, you still got to be true to the tradition, and still keep aspects and keep elements of the tradition. So it's just going to be based off how one originates their practice. So they're still keeping the traditional teachings, but I guarantee they're incorporating newer elements to it. So that's going to open up the route to the evolution of Wiki. There's different elements and different perspectives of how things are ran, especially when it comes to masculine and feminine. And a lot of some some people respect it, some people don't.
Has there
And,
ever been a Bwiti woman who has wanted to serve medicine?
oh yeah, no, there is.
Uh-huh. They do, but it's
They
not
do.
it's not part of the tradition traditionally.
Oh yeah, no, it is. Yeah. No, they have women that serve they're dominant, they're dominant, they're Nemas. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They have women that serve
Uh-huh.
medicine.
But there's
Yeah, they have
certain elements, like you said, there's certain protections that have to be offered by a man, Nima. Uh-huh.
yes. So they have to incorporate, they have to bring the men in order to do what they're doing, because when it comes to the women aspect, the women teachers are there's many different levels of them. And one of them is the Mabundi. Mabundi is like, they're the women witchy of the witchy. Mabundi. The Mabundi. And so the Mabundi is like hardcore women that are, you become a Mabundi, you become a woman. And they do their rite of passage. They have their own rite of passages, which is Niembe. They have all that. They have their own thing. I'm telling you. But and they serve medicine. They do initiations. They do initiations for women. They're serving medicine. But there's different levels of Mabuni, and there's the high priestess of all those women who it's like a hierarchy. And so um, my teacher is his name's Papa Binana, and he's a bika. He's a great grandmaster. He's a Grand Master, and he is the master of ceremony. So I look up to him. And then there's other Bridges below me, or there's other Bridges that we're all on the same level, you know, and it just goes down the line. When it comes to higher, same with the women, they have the same thing, you know. So you're looking up to your elder. You're always respecting your ancestor. You're always respecting your elder. Yeah. So now women have a strong role in the tradition. Very strong role. Very important. Very strong role. You know. Um. Yeah. Sometimes there's misunderstanding. Sometimes there's sometimes men and women don't get along, at certain things because um somebody wants to say something or do something differently, and then that's when you know the drama happens, the conflicts happening, people are separating and all types of stuff. So and honestly, I think there's reasons for that because if one is not going to respect and listen to the way the medicine is going to operate, the way the medicine is going to work, then it's best that people part ways and they go down their own path. When Because I know what it is for my teachers. We're following the ways. We're following the ways to follow. And I've seen my father like separate from people that he's known for like 40 years and women. And just because of
The ways stop being followed.
it's not just that, it's probably more personal to because it's like, can't make this, couldn't make this woman happy and couldn't make her happy. And it's just like, I've known this woman for 40 years. I can't, I'm not dealing with that anymore. So it's time to part ways. I can't do business. We can do ceremonies together, but I can't.
No, for sure. No, I mean, I really resonate with everything that you're sharing. And, I'm not asking this question as someone who's like coming to a tradition with ulterior motives, wanting a tradition to adapt to my needs, right? It's more of a question of can traditions evolve, and it's been very interesting for me getting to witness a very safeguarded culture and tradition evolve and grow and change. And many traditions, as they over the last 15-20 years, as they've come out of the depths of the jungle, the rainforest, the bush, they have, grown, evolved. But the ones that stay preserved, the ones that remain intact, that don't get warped or distorted, are the ones that change slowly. And so it's really about rooted change. And change, anytime we're looking to change a tradition and we're like needing it to go faster, what I've noticed, at least for me in my own personal studies with this very same topic of the women's role, is that every time I need it to go faster than it's already going, I have ulterior motives. And so to really be able to trust that, when we have a culture and a lineage that we are blessed to be working with, and of course, it's not everyone who's working in depth within a tradition in this way, but if you are, and you are part of a tradition and a lineage and a culture, recognizing that this change and this evolution, it's natural, it's going to happen, but that sometimes it's not going to happen in our lifetime, and that's not meant to, and so just being part of this process of showing up and asking the questions, right? Does this still serve us? Or are we doing this out of, habit or what? And really understanding the foundational role and purpose of every single practice within the tradition, is the path of true embodiment for anyone who's carrying a lineage, right? Because we have to really embody it, know it, feel it deep within our own beings, and understand it. And if we don't understand it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to change. It just means that we're not there yet. We haven't arrived at that place of being able to understand why something is the way it is. And that has been a really big part of my path within the Yahe, is sometimes not understanding things and not being super thrilled or stoked or at that place of like complete understanding of the way things are. But then when the understanding comes later, and that's sometimes years later, sometimes, I'm still walking with things that I don't fully understand. And that's okay. That's part of, walking a spiritual path and really, being there for the journey and the process. And that's just a little bit of backstory of where that question comes from. And it's really interesting to see, many of the parallels of, what it means to be in deep inquiry and to really safeguard tradition. And I've learned from my teacher, the tradition is what sustains and what helps us to stay connected to our ancestors and to the grandfathers and the grandmothers that walked before us, that brought us to this place. And so when we mess with the tradition, or when we change it, or want it to just be a little different, or just, like let's just change the word in this song, or let's just update, the pronoun in this chant or incantation, whatever it is, it's like, no, we don't do that, right? That's tricky business, and that is a trap. And I'm sure that you have experienced this in many ways when it comes to preserving and upholding the ways of the Bwiti.
One is coming into the tradition for the first time and see. I think what more than likely they would want to change, especially in the Bwiti tradition, probably like the hierarchy and the matriarch and patriarch type things. I think that's but that's there's a reason for all that stuff. There's a reason for it, and we gotta understand. Understand we can't just come into somebody else's backyard and tell them how the backyard should look. It's just very disrespectful. And I've even had my teachers even say this type of stuff to me. Like you got like telling, not directly telling me, but people that I'm with, like you guys don't understand how we do things here. And I think once you guys really understand how we do things, you'll get it. But if you don't get it, then it's basically that this is going to be a choice that you're going to have to make when it comes to your path, going down this path. And because there's reasons for this kind of stuff, spiritual reasons, that have been designed this way through the medicine, through the spirit world, you know, and everybody, at the end of the day, should everybody should be all about genuine spiritual love, and everybody should have some love, but we also got to understand that there's a balance to everything too. So, and I think that's one thing that privileged West world they don't get it. They don't get that because they've been so pampered. They go to spas and Starbucks and eat McDonald's and all types of stuff. Just they have a very pampered life, privileged. And once they experience this type of stuff, it's just like, wow, you know, it's definitely new to them. I've had people come there and out of respect, they see how they live in like wood huts and not wood huts, but wood houses and just shacks and stuff, and want to come in and even start dumping money in the place. And it's not just the fact that you can just come in and do that. Now we have to it has to be organized, it has to be planned out. We have to get approval and everything approved by the entire village. We have to ask them what they want. We can't just be like, oh, you guys need this, and this. They have to tell us what they want and what they need. And then that's how we do it. I have my whole reciprocity project going on over there. Village that we're building out uh, for Westerners to come in to learn the tradition, and but this is all based off ideas and plans of everybody in the village and what they needed and what they wanted, and it's been working out, going smoothly, and despite there's been certain jealousies, because that's just a part of the balance, and it's part of things that, I guess when it comes to that hierarchy, that power, you're also gonna worry about these jealousies. And that's the number one killer in these indigenous communities, because um, they'll see somebody as the leader in gaining certain power or getting money or running a show, and and when it comes to opportunity, not everybody's given an opportunity, because it's either they either want stuff handed to them, and they don't want to listen, or they want more, and the leader is regulating, because they're like, no, you're not being true to the project. You're not being true to, you're not listening. You're not participating. You just want stuff given to you, and you got to work for this stuff. So then there'll be this conflict. This is indigenous days of our lives. so, so
It's complex. There's many layers. Yeah.
at the end of the day, no matter what, everybody will still come together and dance and run ceremonies in the temple. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about, there's always a solution. There will always be a solution. There's always a solution. That's a Bwiti way.
Hmm. Beautiful.
And when I go there, I gotta hop right back into that drama, and try to help create solutions for the next 2 months. Yeah. This is part of my job, part of what I do, part of me being Missoko high priest healer, to take care of my people. So.
Very beautiful. Wow. Well, my brother, I feel like we are just scratching the surface There's so much more I would love to talk to you about. And I think that this just needs to be the beginning of more beautiful conversations. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really want to respect your time and the time that we set aside for this beautiful conversation. But yes, to many more, because this has been really beautiful and insightful, a lot of incredible teachings, and yeah, just getting more insight into the Bwiti cosmology, mythology, and architecture, design. It's been quite beautiful. So I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity to sit down together. Elizabeth and I spoke a lot about Soul Centro. We will definitely include all of your guys' links in both of these episodes. But before we close, is there anything that you feel, called to share to close? If you want to talk about Soul Centro, or maybe a particular message or offering to anyone listening, to tie everything together.
One is feeling the calling doing Iboga. Um, don't hesitate to not reach out to Soul Centro if you want proper guidance to a practitioner or provider that you're going to. Trust me, I know them all, and if they're qualified, when it comes to working with this medicine, they have to be qualified. They have to have approval from their teacher, from their master, from their elder. And there's certain qualities that need to be carried when it comes to serving this medicine. It's not about just giving somebody medicine and putting them in a room, putting on some music and all that jazz. No, it's way much more than that. If they're not protecting the container, it's not real. They have to hold certain qualities and certain characteristics and know how to use them. When it comes to the Bwiti, if they don't have this stuff, yeah, feel free to contact Soul Centro to ask, um, or just come to Soul Centro. For all your come true with your participation, because we know what we're doing over here. We've been working with this medicine for 11 years, and it's for life. And we are very serious about our container, and it's about protecting everybody in the container, not just one person, two persons. It's everybody, including ourselves included. So if we need to protect ourselves, we need to make sure that you're protected. So yeah, come join us at Soul Centro when if you feel like you need you need some guidance or just ask questions about Iboga, or you really need some serious healing, especially when it comes to PTSD, traumas, addictions. I'm starting a soldiers program called a Soldier Solutions, spelled SOULDIERS, Solutions, SOUL. You know, um, you know, I initiate. I'm a Nimana, so I initiate people. I initiate people into the tradition so they don't have to go all the way to Africa, but um, I can do it here in Costa Rica. I have that. I have the power to do that. And but the thing is that they have to do the medicine first to see if they have the calling to go down the path of the medicine. Once you have the calling to go down the path of the medicine, you can get initiated with me and million younger excursion to Africa. I go to Africa every year, once a year, every summer. Um, and all new initiates go for at least 2 weeks, 2 months. So yeah, we have a lot of opportunities here at Soul Centro.
So grateful for this beautiful connection. And yes, we're excited to get to promote Soul Centro and the beautiful work that you guys are doing. And thank you to everyone who's tuned into this beautiful episode, and really just grateful for this moment, for this connection, and sending a lot of blessings to your journey to Africa this summer, leaving in a few days, and to all the beautiful work that you're going to be doing over there, and just blessings and protection for the path that you're walking. Thank you so much for your commitment and your dedication, integrity. It's a wonderful pleasure and honor to get to connect with you in this way. So thank you so much, my brother.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Likewise. Likewise. Thank you for having me here and for your journey as well.
On behalf of the Four Visions family, we want to thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you have enjoyed this conversation and have gained seeds of wisdom that will nourish your spiritual path. If you have a moment, please leave us a review, as this helps us to reach more people. For more resources and information about the plant path, and for the highest quality spiritual tools and botanicals, please visit us at fourvisions.com. We are grateful for your support and look forward to continuing this journey with you all. Until next time.